Hello there. Once again, this is Galen Kim Davis talking about Sunnyvale politics, and specifically, I'm talking about Measure B in the March 2020 Sunnyvale municipal election. My topic is perhaps a little more broad today. I'm talking about corrosive campaign messaging, and specifically, I'm going to talk about a couple of tactics that have been used in this particular election cycle and why it's bad and why it needs to stop. So, the No campaign has a favorite rhetorical device that they've been using, and they'll say, why did council do this? Why did council not do this? Why did council not put two measures on the ballot? Why did council not do this after our interpretation of the data said this? And so on and so on and so on. There are certain individuals in the campaign who are worse about it than others, but their general messaging everywhere seems to contain this type of phrasing. Now, first of all, you have to understand that each council member's reasoning for each vote is part of the public record. And this is because the way the council meetings work, the parliamentary procedures we follow, is that before a vote is taken, every council member is given, it seems like, unlimited time to explain their reasoning as to why they're going to vote the way they're going to vote. They also get to attempt to persuade their other council members. They get to ask questions of each other. When there is a topic that has any type of controversy and so on, this ends up taking a very long time. They end up saying the same thing over and over, but this is fine. This is how deliberative democracy works, and so everything is part of the public record. All of these meetings are recorded, they're put on the internet, they're easily accessible to every citizen. Actually, non-citizens alike. Anybody in the world can go watch these recordings. And there are some things to make it easier to use. You don't have to watch a big 3-hour meeting because they have links in there that will take you to the part of the meeting that is the agenda item you have interest in. Next, Measure B didn't happen because of one vote. There were a lot of votes that led up to it, and consequently, there are a lot of reasons given for each of these votes, right? There's 7 council members, and let's say there were 7 votes. So that's 49 monologues about why they voted the way they were. And that means that just about everything that came before them, every piece of data that staff presented, that was commissioned from polls, from consultants, and so on, they voted on everything. They explained themselves about everything. This very much includes why they interpreted certain data points the way they did. Staff pulled together data about what was said at the outreach during the outreach effort that they did, and each council member explained what they thought about it. A scientific poll was commissioned to try and get an understanding in an unbiased sample of what Sunnyvale people were thinking. And by and large, if you go and watch the videos, every council member explains their interpretation of that data and why they voted the way they did. So, why is this phrasing bad, right? Obviously, it's disingenuous. All the questions have been answered extensively, but it's bad for another way because of the form itself. When you ask, why did council do this? Why did council not do this? Especially when you ask, why did council not do this? It implies a lot of negative things about the city council. One, it implies that they're not deliberative and rigorous, because why would you be asking a why question if it wasn't obvious, right? It implies that they have not explained themselves, that they didn't answer this already. And then it opens the door to these interpretations to the more conspiracy-minded folks that maybe they're not making decisions at these meetings, that these city council meetings are just political theater and the real decisions are being made in some back room, maybe with developers. That is just not true. That is not what is happening. We have a very open government in Sunnyvale. And I don't like all the council members. I didn't vote for all of them, or maybe I did, I don't remember. But they're doing government the right way. And questions that imply that they're not are just not appropriate. Now, if you've ever had media training, they always tell you about if a reporter or somebody asks you a question that's along the lines of, when did you stop beating your wife? The only appropriate thing to do is to stop that interview right then and there and remove access from that reporter, because there is no good way to answer that. It's a trap question. And these why did council do this, why did council not do this questions, when there's an extensive public record, they're trap questions. And a smart city council person is just not going to answer you. Now, some of you are thinking, oh, you said this phrasing, it implies all of these things. No one's really saying these things. You're putting words in their mouth. Come on. Don't play innocent. This word choice guarantees that a big portion of the audience is going to think it. Our nervous systems are wired to respond to questions like this with fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Now, I work in tech. I've been a marketer, and there is an extensive playbook on how to defend a dominant market position by using fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Microsoft's very, very good at it. Cisco's very, very good at it. Don't play dumb. We know what you're doing. Finally, mature people communicate with an awareness of the reaction that their audience is likely to have. You don't get to play dumb. This is a smart town. We know what you're doing. So don't do it. So, what are better ways to phrase yourself? Councilmember X said this data led to this interpretation and thus they voted this way. They are incorrect because, fill in all of the this and its and so on. That's a neutral way to state your point and why you disagree. It allows the listener to make up their own mind without to be persuaded by facts and logos, not pathos and fear. Council members X, Y, and Z failed to weight this evidence appropriately. Their vote will lead to these negative consequences. Once again, nice neutral way you're presenting the facts, you're making your opinion known, but you're not trying to manipulate the audience. This decision made in an XY vote is incorrect because, and XY are numbers, right? Tell us who voted which way. Once again, neutral, you're giving facts, you're not trying to manipulate the audience. Please do not say city council did this or city council did not do this. City council is made up with individuals who made individual votes. Please be specific. If you're a council member, you're actually criticizing yourself. It doesn't matter if you lost the vote. If you said, why did council do this or city council did this? You know what? You just placed yourself with the majority. So call out individuals. Tell us why they're wrong. Finally, when you do things like that, you're attacking the institution. We don't need the institution attacked. We want their decisions attacked, right? This government is legitimate. Okay, so where does this lead, right? Now that I've told you all of this, what am I going to do? Some of you may have seen that I have been criticizing particular messages for their style and their phrasing. I'm not going to stop. I'll probably start making videos. These are very cheap and easy to do. I'm not naming names in this video. Consider it a shot across the bow. If you can't communicate without doing this and you don't want me to call you out, I'd suggest staying out of politics. Limit yourself to voting. and maybe just talking to your friends. But when you bring yourself out into the public sphere, you have a responsibility to conduct yourself in an upstanding manner. Okay, finally, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Unfortunately, as human beings, we're kind of wired to communicate in negative ways. I slip up sometimes too. Call me out on it. I would appreciate it. I would appreciate it if you gave me a heads up first and asked me to change in a private communication. And if I agree with you, I will. But you don't have to do that. My skin is thick. What's good for everybody else is good for me too. Okay, and now I've gone for 10 minutes and 45 seconds or so I'm going to stop now. Thank you. Bye.